Welcome to episode 13 of the Dorton and Doetkott Debate Podcast. I am Lucas Dorton, joined by Nicholas Doetkott. Nick, how you doing? Mr. Doetkott, are you there?
I'm all right. I know Minnesota teams lost tonight. Well, the Wild did, but I don't really care about them too much. So I am.
Okay. All right, good. We're
good.
getting quick feedback, but that's all right. I think we're good now.
Oh, all right. Good. I'm here.
Freaking technology, man.
Gotta love it.
Gotta love it. So yeah, you guys are probably wondering why we did not put out an episode last week. Well, we recorded one, but the uploading process didn't quite work. It took us about 13, 14 times of me trying to upload it, and it did not work. So we did not have an episode 13. So this is technically now episode 13. So we're not going to talk about the topics we talked about last week. We're going to have some new stuff to talk about. But the new stuff that we have to talk about, kind of cool, all right, I guess. We did have a poll that we put up. Kind of the main thing that we talked about in the last week's episode that did not get put out was a debate that we had, which is essentially if you can only put in one person in the Hall of Fame between Phillip Rivers and Eli Manning, who do you put in and why? And we had 27 votes. 70% of the people chose Eli Manning, where the 30% chose Phillip Rivers. And the main reason behind that, the two comments that we got were essentially both Manning has the 2 rings, beat Brady and Belichick twice, which, like I said, rings, I'm not a huge fan of using that as your only argument. But if you do use it to compare players who are fairly similar, that's fair, I guess.
Yeah. By the way, I voted on our own poll, but
who'd you vote?
I voted for Rivers.
Okay.
Like you said, I'm still on the fence, to be honest, but I don't know. I went with Rivers. I feel like he's the better quarterback. It's just Eli was the one who had success in playoffs, which, like you've said before, it kind of matters how much how much you weigh playoff success to someone's overall success.
Right.
But the reasons for Eli that the two comments said, I mean, it's the obvious reason, but it's a very valid one too. Beat Brady and Belichick, yeah. And part of the reason, Rivers hasn't had the playoff success is because he ran into those Patriots teams. Well, right. And he could never beat them. Well, Eli did in the Super Bowl twice. And then the other one, yeah, Eli got the rings, Rivers didn't. So I totally get that. At the end of the day, I think they're either both going to make the Hall of Fame or neither will, and I think both will. So,
yeah, and I would probably agree too. But nonetheless, we can move on to that. Talk about our topics that we have to talk about this week. Not a whole lot, but some all right stuff. Christian Yelich, pretty cool. 9-year, $215 million extension with the Milwaukee Brewers. You can't. You have to feel happy for the guy. Obviously, there's been a lot of times where he's kind of been, the second stop, kind of the second looked at player on some of the teams that he's been on. Now, obviously, won the MVP in 2018, finished second last year in the National League. I still think if he would have been healthy, he probably would have won it again. But nonetheless, super cool for him. How do you feel about that, though?
Personally, for the Brewers, this is a steal. Nowadays in baseball, this is a steal for the Brewers. This is less money than I believe Harper, Trout, which Trout's a stud, but this is less money than Trout, Harper, I think even Cole. Like nowadays, this is a steal for the Brewers. With that being said, I feel great for Yelich. I've adopted Christian Yelich as one of my favorite players. I don't know if I really have one. I mean, Rosario is probably my favorite twin. But as a Minnesota sports fan, I want nothing more than the Badgers and the Packers to lose. But being that the Brewers and the Bucks aren't even in the same conference, and for most of my life up until recently have not been that great. I've never had any ill feelings toward them. I actually kind of like the Brewers, and I love me some Christian Yelich, and I'm glad the guy's finally got a good contract, and he says he loves playing in Milwaukee, so I'm happy. Plus, he won't be in the AL to beat up on the Twins or anything anytime soon, so that's good.
True. That's true. Man has never been a free agent in his life. Obviously, was traded from Miami to Milwaukee. It doesn't look like he will be for the near future as well, too. super cool. I mean, especially for Milwaukee, definitely. I don't think that they thought that he was going to be nearly as good as he has turned out to be for Milwaukee. I'm sure they thought he was going to be decent, but not as good as he has been these past couple of seasons for the Brewers. Right, I wouldn't say the reason why, they are competing for the playoffs. Obviously, you need some other teams, some other decent players around you. But if Christian Yelich is not there, I don't know if they are a playoff. They might be a playoff team. I don't think they're nearly good, though.
I mean, last year it looked like the Brewers were going to miss out on the playoffs, and they had a really good late season push without Yelich. They won like 18-4 or something like that in 22-game stretch without him. But in the scheme of things in baseball, that's not a very big sample size, and it was kind of random. Obviously they're way better with Yelich, and you got to play a whole season without him. They're nowhere near as good. I mean, Yelich is the best player in the National League, at least hitting wise. I think maybe DeGrom could compete with him, but hitting wise, he's definitely, in my opinion, the best hitter in baseball. I think honestly, there's a case for him being the best player in baseball. Yes, I said it. And for Milwaukee, this is great. Milwaukee isn't, obviously a big market, and now, in my opinion, they have the best player in the National League for, on an 8-year contract. That's great for you. So good for them. Good for Yelich.
Yeah, I want to see. You brought up the best player in the game. I think there's still a guy that resides in center field for the LA Angels of Anaheim who is the best player in baseball. He just it's one of those things where, like, kind of like basketball, right? LeBron, for many, I think he's the best of all time, but so many seasons, he's probably the best player in the NBA on a given season. But you're not going to give the MVP to LeBron 15 years in a row. That's the thing with Mike Trout. He probably could win an MVP every year, and he finishes top 5 every year. I mean,
top 3, yeah. I mean, you're totally right when you say that. Like, yeah, at some point, Trout and LeBron have done it so consistently, so good at such a high level that at some point it just seems usual and natural for them. So it doesn't seem so extraordinary anymore. And you just get sick of giving to them, so other people get it. I get that. You're not wrong. And I think if you're talking best player, it's probably still Trout. But if you're talking valuable, you have to consider durability. And although Yelich got injured last year, that was like the first time. Trout's injured almost every year. And it's not I think I discussed this in one of our first podcasts. It's not a discredit to Trout, but I think he almost gets walked too much. Maybe it's because he's on a worse team, but he's almost getting walked at such a high pace, whereas Yelich is getting walked less, but because of that, he's hitting and playing more. He's getting more home runs, more runs batted in, and it's more beneficial to his team. So it's not a discredit to Trout, but if you're talking value, at least over the last 2 years, Yelich is more valuable. And you mentioned Trout with the MVPs. Like I said, you're totally right. But you mentioned it when you first brought this up. If Yelich didn't get injured, you think he would have won another MVP. That would have been 2 in a row. And at that point, you've proven it to me. One really good season, it's almost like, okay, you're good, but prove it to me again. But he's done 2 years in a row now with an MVP-like season. And even despite his injury, if it weren't for Bellinger being amazing this last year, he would have got MVP for the second year in a row. So clearly the dude's good. And he's right there with Trout defensively and base running. Yelich, I think, was darn near perfect base stealing last year. So.
Oh, yeah, and I agree. I think Yelich is one of the best players in baseball. Obviously, I don't want to turn this into a Yelich versus Trout debate because we're talking about Yelich's contract extension. So we'll have to save that for another time, potentially in the future. Maybe they match up against each other at some point. We'll have to bring that up. But they're nonetheless awesome for him. We'll have to see how long he stays there. A lot of times with these big, long-length deals, normally you don't see the players staying there the whole time. Maybe it'll be different. I don't think it will, but who knows? We'll have to see. Another contract extension, the Chicago White Sox, on Moncada, 5 years, $70 million extension. If you're a baseball fan, you got to love what the White Sox are doing. They have a young core. They're locking their guys up. I don't think they'll be a playoff team this year. I think they could potentially compete. I think they'll fall off a little bit towards the end. But I think within the next couple seasons, absolutely a playoff team. I don't know if competing for a World Series is maybe taking it a bit too far, But nonetheless, when you have all these young guys locking them up for the future, you hope that at some point it turns around to a lot of success.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about this?
I don't like what they're doing, but that doesn't mean they're not doing good. It's because they're in the AL Central, and I don't like it because obviously the Twins are. I believe you said 5 years, $70 million for Moncada.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a great deal. That's $12 million a year. No, one.
He was a spelling bee champ, folks. Nobody said anything about a math champ.
I'm good at math too, and now that the pressure's on, I'm struggling. But anyways, it's not much a year. It's $14 million a year. Sorry, $14 million a year. That's pretty good. I mean, the dude was a very solid player last year, and he's still very young. But yes, so it's a great contract for the White Sox, and for a young guy like Moncada to have a $70 million deal, good for him. But the White Sox, like you said, World Series in a couple of years, maybe not. I don't know. And playoffs this year, maybe not. But they should be. I mean, they should be in contention this year. And I could definitely see them making it. I don't. We'll touch on it next week with predictions. But I don't have them in the playoffs. But I do think they'll be a very solid team. Moncada, along with Tim Anderson, who hardly ever walks, but he led the AL batting average last year, and Abreu in the infield. That's one of the better infields you'll get. You got Edwin Encarnacion, who I forgot they even had up until yesterday when I was looking over the roster again. So you got a big old veteran presence at DH there. You got the rookie coming up, Luis Robert. I don't know much about him besides the fact that he's the number 2 prospect in baseball, but it sounds like he's supposed to be really good, and I think he's going to be up for most of the year. They had a Rookie of the Year candidate last year, so you got 2 probably young studs in the outfield coming up. And I didn't know if they had enough pitching, really, and I'm still a little hesitant on their pitching. But Giolito is one of the better pitchers in the AL Central. I'd say he's probably the best one besides maybe Clevenger and Bieber. I mean, I'd take him over Barrios and any starter the Twins have. And then you got Keuchel, who's a former Cy Young winner. I think they're probably a little slim in the bullpen yet, but, it looks good for them. And, Abreu is kind of getting up there, and obviously Encarnacion's old, but besides that, everybody I mentioned is pretty young. Keuchel's not that young, but they're very young yet. So there's a good thing going for them. And as far as Chicago's concerned, I'm much more confident in the White Sox than in the Cubs this year. So.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, maybe David Ross coming in and a new face changed things up a little bit. I don't think so too much, but who knows? We'll have to see. Maybe it's a good time for a good commercial break now. You did talk about next week. Well, folks are probably wondering, well, what's next week? Well, we're going to have our Major League Baseball kind of preview show for this upcoming 2020 season, making predictions, award predictions, standings, playoffs, World Series, and we will be having a guest on the show. Sam Steer will be joining the show, a buddy of Nick that he knows will be joining the show too. I don't know a whole lot about him, but from what I do know, obviously a baseball guy. He played baseball. He currently coaches. When I see him commenting on your baseball posts, it definitely looks like he knows what he's talking about. So that's always good too. So it'll be exciting to get him on there, get a new face for sure.
We'll probably talk a little bit of township baseball because me and Sam both play it. It's big. It's pretty big time in Minnesota. He plays for Waterville, who's really good. The A's, sorry for any A's fans listening, but we're not very good. I'm pretty sure Sam and Waterville are about 4-0 or so against me in town team. But I'll have to give Sam a little crap next week. I'm pretty sure the last game we played, I'm pretty sure last year I went 2 for 3 against him or something like that against Waterville. I got a pretty good batting average against Waterville. So
okay,
no dingers or anything, but
hey, maybe you'll hit one against him.
And I'm a terrible pitcher. Yeah, not happening. Although Waterville does have a short porch and right, so a little gust of wind maybe, but being a lefty and a pull heavy hitter, it's unlikely. But I'm not a very good pitcher either, and I threw it 0 ERA against Waterville. So
okay. Well, we'll have to bring Sam on when he comes on next week. Have him talk up your guys' maybe a little rivalry that you have against each other. Who knows? Also, this is a good time in the show. I didn't mention at the beginning of the podcast. I should have, but oh well. If you're here now, then great. Means you're a true fan, right? About almost 15 minutes in. Congratulations. At the end of the show, towards the end, or I guess when we are finished talking about the topics that we have to discuss, we will be doing something kind of fun. Nick and I are going to be doing a fantasy draft for this upcoming season with just him and I. We'll have certain categories and stuff that will weigh more heavily than others, and to decide a winner at the end of the season. Got the idea from Starting Nine podcast, a baseball one that they do on Barstool Sports. Theirs, what they did is they did an all-decade draft. Obviously, we're not as cool as Starting Nine is, or else, we do something similar to that. So we're just sticking it kind of smaller, and we're doing for this 2020 season. So if you want to, fast forward a little bit towards the end, go ahead.
I don't know why you'd want to do that.
I don't know why you'd want to do that. I mean, we have phenomenal content still left to talk about. But nonetheless, if you want to, that's fine. That's fine. But and so we can get back into our regularly scheduled program here. Jose Bautista apparently is trying to make a comeback, not as an outfielder or an infielder like he did try a little bit too, but as a pitcher. Now, every once in a while you see it where a pitcher tries to convert to a fielder and vice versa. Do you personally see this working out in favor of Jose Bautista? Do you see a team signing him and giving him an opportunity?
I do not. First of all, it's a little hard to speak on because, I don't know his past, his background. Like, was he a really good pitcher in high school, or I think it's from the Dominican Republic. I don't know, was he a good pitcher? Did he used to pitch back then? Can he throw a 95? Can he pump? Can he throw a good curveball? I have no idea. Considering the fact that he's considering this, he must at least be a decent pitcher. Yeah. But I highly doubt it's good enough to actually, really get a legit opportunity at this. And, I think he's 38 years old or something like that. His age at this point isn't helping him out in the case either. And so, yeah, I doubt it. However, I just want to speak on the two-way players in general. I personally love that it's back in baseball. I don't know if it really is because there's not many, but Shohei Ohtani, I'm so glad he came and is being a two-way player because I personally love it. Brendan McKay with the Rays did it a little bit last year. It sounds like he's probably going to just pretty much be a pitcher this year, but he hit and pitched a little bit last year. And I personally love it because, if you can do it, why not? It's like having two players and only using one roster spot. It's awesome, and I love it. Babe Ruth, obviously it's a long time ago, but, Babe Ruth used to do it. I love seeing it. So, but yeah. I doubt it will happen with Bautista.
Could definitely see a New York Mets potentially doing this. It seems like something they do, obviously signing Tim Tebow, giving him an opportunity. Who knows if he'll crack a major league starting spot, but nonetheless, who knows? Who knows?
That spring training home run, though.
That Oppo Taco, baby.
Little Oppo Taco. Unfortunately, he hasn't been very good since then. But man, I would love to see him in a Mets regular season game one day.
We're gonna be seeing you do that for the Arlington A's this year.
Yeah, no. Like I said, with Sam Steer, he plays for Waterville. They got a little short porch there, right? That being said, even if I ever left, I still probably wouldn't do it. But our park is so deep. Most major league ballparks are 325, 335 left field about. I can't remember off the top of my head what target field is, but we're 338 left field, 340 right field, and still not a 400 center, but we got a 388 center field. It's are you serious? This is longer than major league ballparks. We had 2 home runs last year from the same guy.
Yeah, Jim,
we had 2 home runs last year from the same guy. Prior to that, I think we had 3 seasons in a row without even hitting a home run. And there won't be any coming for me. So, yeah, no. Maybe inside the park. I got one warning tracker in my life. It was junior year or something, sophomore, junior year in Lee Sewer. It's only 3:10 to left. It was pretty much a towering pop-up that just landed on the warning track. It was in the air for so long, it probably should have been caught. But regardless, it was about 306 to the warning track. So I can say I got one warning tracker at least.
Hey, you know what? That's fine. It's close. You're one step closer.
If it were Boston and right field towards pesky pole, it might have had it.
Maybe or a high pop fly to the monster in left field. Maybe. Yeah, maybe the wife's carrying a little more that day.
Yeah, maybe it'll happen. But you know what? Wouldn't count on it. I think there's a better chance of an inside the park for me than an over the fencer.
He's got speed, folks. He's got speed. But anyway, so as far as baseball goes, that's all the stuff that we have to talk about. But like I said, definitely stay tuned because we will do more with the fantasy draft later on in the episode. So, like I said, don't fast forward. But if you want to, that's okay. I won't judge. I won't judge.
Stay
You do you.
Stay tuned to find out the best team ever assembled. Sorry, by yours truly.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that. You got some time to consider that again. But anyways, we can move on from that. NBA, wanted to bring this up. I just think it's kind of funny. The whole Charles Barkley and Draymond Green thing. Essentially, I don't know if Charles Barkley, said something about the Warriors, about Draymond Green specifically. I know they have had spats in the past, but essentially Draymond Green came back and said that, you're not even at the same table as us, because you haven't won any rings. Okay, well, Draymond, probably pump the brakes a little bit on that one. Certainly it does help when you have one for sure of the best shooter of all time, two, a extremely solid secondary shooter in Klay Thompson as well too. Charles Barkley, arguably one of the best, maybe 15 players ever play the game.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I just think it's kind of funny. I don't know if you saw this. What is your take on that?
I don't know exactly what Chuck said, but I seen Draymond's response. For the most part,
it's not much. It's not much.
I'll say this. I'm not backing what either of them said. I don't really, like the spats banging for it, but I at least like how Charles and Shaq and all those guys on Inside the NBA are, they're honest. They're not going to sugarcoat it. They're honest. I like that. But, and, I don't want to personally bash anybody. I'm no greater than Draymond, but there's many times Draymond likes to run his mouth. I don't necessarily like the way he's conducted himself at many times. And, what he said, really, like, just because you won 3 rings and Charles won 0, that doesn't mean crap, Does that mean does that mean you got nothing on Robert Horry because he's won how many he has? Like James Jones has won 3 and made 8 straight finals, the GOAT, James Jones. He ain't better than Charles, so who cares? I will say this though, Draymond's a good player. Like, do the Warriors have 3 finals in the last 5 years without him? I don't know. I think there's a good chance, but maybe not. Like, Draymond's that one guy who kind of did everything. Like, he was their main defensive stopper a lot of times. He was kind of the glue to that team. But, yeah, you put him on a team with nobody, like this year where everybody's injured, and that's what he is. He's a nobody, You put Thompson, and I'm not even a huge Thompson guy, but you put Thompson and Curry and Durant on other teams, they're going to succeed. Draymond, without other really successful guys with him, isn't going to have that much success. So it's not like you're this great player, know-it-all, Don't act like Charles is nothing on you. But, at least he's standing his ground and whatnot. So, I don't know.
Yeah, interesting. Like I said, I don't care too much about it. But, oh well. Kind of funny thing. Another not ginormous piece, but, again, don't have much to talk about. You've brought it before, Nick. February, obviously, whereas it's March 7th now we're recording this. February is just such a dumb month. Because pretty much Super Bowl, and that's it. That's pretty much it.
I hate February. It's a good thing it's the shortest month of the year because it sucks. And obviously March is good, but the first 10 days of March, not so much. Obviously, with March Madness coming up, it's going to get good. By the way, 2 teams clinched, Utah State tonight and Belmont. The Utah State's a big one because that's an automatic bid now, and they probably would not have made it. And for San Diego State, that's a big loss. They probably won't get a 1 seed now. But, February sucks. The beginning of March sucks. So thankfully, we're getting into March Madness now.
Yeah, obviously you got the NHL and NBA playoffs heating up as well, and then MLB regular season starting up shortly too. So March is a good month.
Wild just got themselves in a playoff spot, and now they're back out of it again, but they're right there. They took a brutal loss to the last place LA Kings today, though. That was awful.
That's not good.
By the way, I was watching earlier. I was going to Snapchat it to you, but it went up the screen before I could get it. They were showing best point differentials in the second period this year. There was 3 teams, I think, tied for second. One was the Wild, I think, with it was plus 17 or something like that. First was Colorado with plus 37, I think. 20 plus 20 more than anybody else. More than double. Yeah. That's insane.
Yeah. No, I truly think if Pavel Francouz is able to consistently play like he has been this season in the net, I mean, I don't know, man. I'm not one to hype my teams up so much to potentially for championships and stuff. But I'm telling you, if Francouz keeps playing great like he has been, he had kind of a rough night the other day. But if he keeps playing solid like he has been, it is going to be tough. This Avalanche team is going to be a tough team to beat come playoff time.
I'll say this. Vegas is not normally wrong. And don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure the Vegas odds I seen the other day had Colorado as the third best Stanley Cup odds and number one in the West. I believe it was Tampa Bay, Boston, and Colorado.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
And Colorado's and what I think St. Louis has more points than Colorado, but I'm pretty sure Colorado had better odds. So and Vegas is smart, man. So if that means anything to you.
Vegas doesn't lie too much, that's for sure.
Like for instance, Duke and UNC played today. That game is seems to always be close. Like one could be defeated and one could be undefeated, and seems like it would be close. And Duke was favored by 10.5 tonight. I'm like, there is no way I would bet on Duke. 10.5, like no way. Well, they won by 13. So, clearly Vegas is smart, and I'm not. So.
Yeah, well, it's okay. That's all right. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. A little humility on the Dorton and Doetkott podcast.
So good thing can't legally bet on sports in Minnesota because I wouldn't be too good at it. I don't think. We should know my football picks.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's a good point. I shouldn't expect too much out of you when it comes to that. Also, huge shout out to Zibanejad from the New York Rangers. We're not talking about any NHL on this podcast because again, not a whole lot going on. 5 goals. One game had the game winner in overtime. I mean, come on, 5 goals. It's hard enough. I can't even obviously it's not on the same level because when I play my player on NHL 20, it is extremely difficult to score 1 goal. I can't imagine trying to score 5. 5 goals.
My player. This game was incredible. You face the Capitals, who are obviously fun to watch. I went to the Wild and Capitals game last Sunday with Ovi. That was awesome. But Ovi scored. I think Ovi had 2 goals with the 5 goals from 5 goals the other side, and I think let's see. I think both of them scored a goal in the last minute and a half. So it was a heck of a hockey game.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is super cool.
Good for him, man. That was a good story. That was cool to see. I think there's been a 5-goal game within the last 3 or 4 years, but I can't off the top of my head recall one.
Came from
one.
Yeah, it came from Patrick Laine from Winnipeg Jets. He had 5 goals, I think, in 2018.
Yes. Now I remember. I thought there was one. I just couldn't think of who it was.
Yep. Yeah, he was the other player, and then there's 2 other guys too. I can't remember who else did it, but nonetheless, super super cool for sure. So going back,
goals. Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah.
I'm just looking again because I was thinking he scored a shootout goal, but you were right. It was just overtime.
Regular overtime.
I was thinking it was 5 goals and he scored in the shootout, but no, the 5th goal was in overtime, as I see here. And he scored with Zibanejad got his 4th in regulation with 1:42 left, and then with 43 seconds left, Ovechkin got his 47th of the year to tie it. Then Zibanejad got his 5th of the game and 38th of the year. 33 seconds into overtime. That's what a game by Zibanejad and what a game overall. That was crazy.
Well, you got the Dorton and Doetkott debate podcast hyped over here, so if that means anything to you, probably chances are you're listening to this aren't very high, but got our respect, that's for sure. Anyways, though, going back to the NBA, a debate Zion between Ja Morant, Rookie of the Year. To me, I think it's silly. I think if you're even, somewhat considering Zion, I think you're kind of crazy. Now, I will say the games that Zion has played so far, he has yet to disappoint. He has done and then some on the category there. But at the end of the day, he's going to play, 30-some games. Ja Morant's got a whole season. Do you think there's any chance Zion is, do you think there's any chance that Zion will win? I guess is what I'm trying to ask.
There's a chance. I don't think he will, but there's a chance. No, personally, I think it should be Morant. And at the end of the year, I think it probably still should be Morant. But I mean, I could see Zion, and I'm not totally against it. Now, yes, it's only like 37 games. I think if he plays every game remaining, it's like 37, which is less than half the season. But considering Morant is like your only other competition, and like literally, and it's not like Morant's averaging what Trae Young and Doncic did last year. Obviously, he's deserving Rookie of the Year, and he's had a good year. But it's not like it's anything way over the top. And considering how good Zion's playing, if he did that over a 37-game stretch, I would be okay with him winning it. I would give my vote to Morant, I think, and I do think he will win it. But I would not be totally against Zion winning. Because although it's only 37 games, you put that up, those numbers up. I mean, if we're talking MVP, no. But to me, Rookie of the Year is a little different.
Yeah, I just think, if Zion were to put up these same numbers and would have played the entire season, absolutely. But I just think it goes down to the point where Morant's been playing the whole season, and hasn't put up as good as numbers as Zion has in the short amount of time that he's played, but still good enough numbers to be considered Rookie of the Year. I think the front runner as well, too. At the end of the day, hopefully the Riders get it right. Hopefully they give it to Ja Morant. Like I said, I'd be extremely surprised if he does not win. But crazier things have happened. The Knicks have supposedly supposed to get the number 1 overall pick, and they've gotten the 4th overall pick. So who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
By the way, we weren't planning on talking about this, but now they're talking about Rookie of the Year. I want your take on the MVP debate because I went on Twitter and Facebook about it last night. The LeBron and Giannis. Austin Jensen, I seen on Twitter was, they asked LeBron about. Somebody mentioned him in their post-game interview. This was like, I think it was after the Pelicans game because about what Alvin Gentry said and whatnot. They were talking about LeBron and MVP talks. He's saying, this is absurd. And I said, and this was like Monday that I was commenting back. I said, I do think Giannis should be MVP, but I don't think it should be that far of a gap. I really do think, despite the fact that the Bucks are amazing this year, unlikely now, but close to 70 wins, and Giannis having a better year than last year. LeBron's season is unbelievable right now, and the Lakers in their own right aren't far behind the Bucks. And LeBron, when he leaves the court, the Lakers aren't that good. When he's on the court, they're really good. And real plus minus, they're really similar, LeBron and Giannis. And so I pretty much said, yes, I think it's Giannis, but I don't think it should be that big of a gap. And now the reason I'm asking this, because I watched that game yesterday. That is probably the best game I have seen LeBron play as a Laker. And it's one of the best defensive games I've ever seen LeBron play. Maybe not like a full 48 minutes, but there was times his defense was unreal. And LeBron took on Giannis one-on-one offensively and defensively and beat him on both ends consistently. I know it's one game, but to me, and somebody's like, really, you're going to say this every one game? Well, I'm not basing it all off this game, but this game just shows you that it should be considered and should be close. I'm still leaning Giannis, but I think there's very legitimate argument for LeBron, and considering how the rest of the season goes, and like tomorrow against the Clippers, because that's a huge game, I could see LeBron winning it. Now, I would like to hear what you have to say about that.
Yeah, no, and I would agree with you. I think, Giannis. I think Giannis definitely is the front runner, but I agree with you. I don't think it's as wide as a gap between him and LeBron. To me, I think LeBron is at very definitely number 2 at the very least. He's not past number 2. But it's just, I don't think the gap is as big as a lot of people think it is, for the reason that right now he's dang near averaging a triple-double in year 18, 17.
Well, he's leading the league in assists too.
In assists.
Like he led in the game.
Exactly. And to me, it's one of those things where, LeBron, again, putting up MVP type years, but, I don't know if you're going to give it to LeBron. I think if he were to get votes, absolutely. I think it's definitely deserving, But if Giannis wins, I'm not going to be upset. Giannis is having a spectacular season again, and he's well deserving. So it'll be interesting to see what the voters decide at the end of the year.
And I think we both agree. I mean, we're not huge on like team records when it comes to comparing players. But if the Lakers, it's unlikely, but they're only I think 4 back of the Bucks and 3 in the loss column. If the Lakers can come within a game of them or tie them or pass them, that may be what LeBron needs to beat Giannis in the MVP discussion. And it's totally possible. The Bucks have some pretty hard games right towards the end of their schedule. The Lakers have some tough ones yet too. But it's not entirely out of possibility that the Lakers can catch Milwaukee. And if they do that, that could be what LeBron needs. Because, like I said, in my opinion, it should be very close.
I agree.
Which is awesome because the last few years it's been kind of obvious for MVP.
It has. Yeah, it's not as obvious as it is this year. I don't think it is, at least neither do you. Couple signings happened in the NBA. Dion Waiters signed with the LA Lakers. Troy Daniels signs with the Denver Nuggets. Between those two signings, which player do you think will have the most impact on their team? Waiters with the Lakers or Daniels with the Nuggets?
I'll say Waiters because I think the Lakers are – I don't know either of the team's plans, obviously, but I think the Lakers are probably going to – I think Waiters is probably going to see more minutes than Daniels does. By the way, the Nuggets got Daniels because he was cut in order for the Lakers to get Waiters. And I actually like Daniels. He didn't play much, but that dude can shoot lights out from behind the three. And I personally thought he should have played more, considering the Lakers shoot. They're a good – I mean, a good three-point team in terms of percentage-wise, I think. But they don't really have these, like, straight-up knockdown three-point shooters necessarily. And I thought Daniels should have got a few more minutes. And I think Daniels is a pretty good player who's underappreciated. He can help a good team out. But Waiters, I think, is just going to get the better opportunity. And I'm not like I don't think he's going to be a stud, but I do like the addition for LA just because as good as they are, they sometimes struggle to find a little offense. Because when LeBron and Davis are both on the floor, obviously, they're fine. But besides those two, the only guy you can really just say, you know what, go score for me is Kuzma. Well, Waiters is a guy he can kind of win some one-on-ones. That's kind of what he's been known for. So I like the signing. I like the addition of him for the Lakers.
I'm going to be biased. I'm going to say Troy Daniels. Kind of for the reason of that, like you mentioned,
I'm kind of biased in mine too. So
sure. Kind of a 3-point shooter. The Nuggets have 3-point shooting. It's not all that consistent at times. So having another guy on the team that is able to get you a 3 if you need it, that's huge to have. And personally, I think it's big time because now, if the Nuggets do have to match up against the Lakers in any sort of playoff scenario, Troy Daniels might be a huge piece. He might have a big chip on his shoulder that's like, hey, you're telling me you cut me for a guy who is suspended for a total of 17 games this season, and Dion Waiters had the whole marijuana incident, lied about being sick, but he was actually out on a boat, partying, I don't know. I just think if it comes down to a playoff scenario, Troy Daniels might be a huge piece from the Nuggets, might be playing pissed off.
I think the one thing that's nice, I'm going to give you crap about that Beasley thing for a long time because I'm just telling you, Malik Beasley is a baller. I didn't expect this, but I knew he was going to be good with the Wolves, and the Nuggets made a mistake getting rid of him. Well, he's a great three-point shooter. Daniels ain't Malik Beasley, but he can somewhat make up for the three-point shooting that they're losing out of by not having Beasley. So,
yeah, I don't know. Obviously, I don't want to talk about that Nuggets T-Wolves trade because at the end of the day, I mean, they were both on expiring contracts, Beasley and Hernan Gomez. I don't think we would have. I mean, last season we asked Beasley if he wanted a contract extension. He declined it. I don't know if he would have came back anyways. I don't know if he would have brought back Juancho. So at the end of the day, you might as well try and get something for him. I don't know.
By the way, I'm surprised with how good Juancho's played. I guess obviously your stats are going to be better given the opportunity. He's starting and playing much more minutes now. But I'm surprised how good he's been. But and like I said, I didn't expect this from Malik Beasley, but I'm not at all surprised that he's doing it. I knew that I didn't watch. I don't watch the Nuggets that much, but from what I seen from Malik Beasley before he was traded, I'm like, this guy's a good player. And
Yes.
I just knew he was going to be the biggest part of that trade, pretty much. And
Yeah.
he looks good, man. I could see him being an all-star at some point. He's good.
I could too. Sometimes, a change of scenery, getting a starting role can do wonders. That's for sure. Move on from the NBA to the NFL. A trade did happen. The Broncos acquired A.J. Bouye from the Jacksonville Jaguars for a 4th-round pick. For the Broncos, I like this just kind of because Chris Harris is probably more than likely on his way out. I can't imagine the Broncos bringing him back. Bouye, a little bit of a younger version, solid corner, that's for sure. Jacksonville, again, it's a classic scenario where I think the team valued a draft pick a heck of a lot more than they should have. A 4th-round pick, I mean, okay, but like I said, and you've brought this up too, if it's not a 1st-round pick, maybe even a 2nd-round pick, then it's not worth trading for. If you're only getting a 4th-round pick in return, why make? We got an ESPN update from Mr. Duckett there. McCollum and Let up. Is that the one we got?
Yes, McCollum.
Yeah, I got that one too. But anyways, what do you think about this trade? I guess winner. What do you think about it?
Do you know Donovan Swanson?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We're in fantasy football. Yeah. So Donnie's a big Bronco fan. So when I heard this, I asked him about it, and I'm just gonna. This is short, but in the Facebook response to me, he said I asked him what he thought about the deal. He said I like it, decent value for the pick. He's gonna step on. Well, it's supposed to be in. He's gonna step in for Chris Harris because he said Harris is gone. He's going to get more money elsewhere. Hopefully Bryce Callahan is healthy and we get a decent corner in the draft. So that's what Donnie said. Trust me, Donnie knows what he's talking about with the Broncos. At the end of the day, I think it's a good deal for the Broncos because they didn't have to trade. I mean, that's not giving up much for A.J. Bouye. And like I said, when you're going to lose in my opinion, probably a future Hall of Fame cornerback in Chris Harris Jr., you're obviously going to want to replace him with someone. And that's what they're doing without getting rid of a lot. Now, to be honest, I don't know quite how good A.J. Bouye is. I know like 2 years ago when the Jaguars got him, you're like, oh my, him and Jalen Ramsey, this is going to be, legit. Because Bouye came from, I believe, the Texans, and he was pretty good.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm not sure how he's done the last 2 years. But I know he was a pretty coveted cornerback. And considering you're getting him for a 4th-round pick, I'd say it's pretty good on Denver's part.
And I would agree, too. I think Denver absolutely won this trade, unless that 4th-round pick turns out to be a future Hall of Famer for Jacksonville, which I imagine it would be. Then maybe Jacksonville wins. But I like this for Denver. Obviously, the defense had its struggles last year. So beefing up on that end of things is definitely huge. Obviously, like Donnie said, like I said, I think Chris Harris definitely on his way out. So we'll have to see how this plays out. But nonetheless, great trade for the Denver.
By the way, I guess Donnie can answer my question about Bouye. He said he's a long, rangy corner and he can contest on the jump ball. Like my post said, look for him to be in the outside, especially in a cover one situation. I believe he can hold his own on the outside. So Donnie clearly has faith in him. Anything Broncos, like I said, I trust Donnie's opinion. So we'll see how Bouye works out for Denver.
We'll have to check back mid-season, see if he's getting burnt toast.
So Donnie, I hope you're watching.
Yeah, absolutely. If you hear this song, great. Congratulations. But now I think, Nick, unless you have any other sports topics to bring up, I think it's about ready for the draft. What do you think?
One more thing. I see XFL today, Houston Roughnecks on 5-0. That quarterback, man, making a bid for the NFL.
Hey, there you go.
He got like 300 some pass yards again today and 3 touchdowns. Dude's a stud.
Dude's a stud, that's for sure. But anyways, I found a coin, so we do have to determine who will have the number 1 overall picks. We're going to be going back and forth, 1, 2, 3, 4, back and forth like that. This is, folks, I promise you, this is not a joke quarter. I don't see there.
No matter what the outcome, it's rigged. I know it.
You got heads, you got tails. I probably can't see that. Let's see what the tail side is. It is the state of Vermont. So Vermont is tails. So, Nick, I will let you call it heads or tails. What do you want?
Tails.
Tails never fails, right?
Well, probably in 5 seconds we'll probably say differently, but yeah, tails.
Let's see it. Here we go. It was heads.
Well, you know, on Madden, my MLB The Show, my coin toss rating would clearly be an F. So, darn.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. So we're just gonna go into it. Essentially, the picks that we have, all the infield positions, 3 outfield positions. We decided not to do left field, center field, right field, just in general 3 outfield positions, 5 starting pitchers, 2 relief pitchers, and a designated hitter. So I don't know how long this will last, but definitely buckle in because it's going to be fun. So my team, Lucas Dorton, with the first overall pick in the Dorton and Doetkott Debate Podcast League, I am going with none other than the best player in Major League Baseball, Mike Trout. Welcome to the team, Mike Trout. And just to let you know, Nick, I am keeping track of it here. I don't know if you have your own little thing too, but I got it here too, just in case. Okay.
I'm right now. That's why. So if I'm not looking at you guys, that's why I'm looking down and hit this. So.
All right. So Mike Trout is my pick, number 1 overall. Nick, who are you going with for pick number 2?
I'm guessing you know who. My boy, Christian Yelich.
Christian Yelich.
You got the best player in the AL. I got the best player in the NL. Who's better overall? You know, I'll leave that up for debate. But
is that up for debate?
Yelich. But I got a more favorable contract, so I hope you're fine with paying Trout all that dough you're making.
Hey, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with giving the best player in baseball that deal. No, I don't feel too bad about that. I'm gonna go a little different. Pitching, right? Pitching wins games.
Hold on here. We didn't really discuss this. For DH, does it have to be a guy who literally like plays DH, like Cruz? You know, guys pretty much just DHs. Or are we just gonna put that as like a wild card? We can put anybody in there.
You know what? We'll make it exciting. We'll just assume that the DH made its way to the National League, and we'll let anyone. We'll let anyone.
I like it. I would say I'd leave it up for them, but they won't see this till after. So sorry. I should have asked you about that earlier. So yeah.
No, that's fine.
Leave that open for anybody. Alrighty.
Yeah, leave it open for anyone. So starting pitcher is where I'm going to go next. Pitching, right? Timely hitting, good pitching wins you playoff games.
Yep.
I'm going with the man, the myth, the legend, the Jacob deGrom.
Ooh.
For my pick. Who do you got, Mr. Doetkott?
Firstly, I love deGrom, and I don't know who I wanted more, him or Cole. But I told myself, as soon as you take your first pitcher, I'm taking pitcher after. So you can't have the best 2. I'll take Garrett Cole.
Ah, dang it.
There's no way I was letting you have Cole and deGrom. So as soon as you took a pitcher, I was taking one of them.
Fine. That's fair. I'm going to go to the hot corner next.
Fine,
I got to get him. You know I have to.
I would have loved to take him from you, but
I'm going with Nolan.
You're going to take Brendan Rodgers?
Nope. I'm going with Nolan Arenado at number 5 for number 6 pick, Mr. Doetkott. Who do you have?
Personally, I'm totally fine with that because the hot corner's got all sorts of people, so you can take a third baseman early. Fine by me.
Okay.
Okay. Hold on a second. I don't know if we're putting a time limit on here. I gotta think this one through. I got my little cheat sheet out that I'm looking at.
Oh boy.
I'm just trying to think what position do I go for now? Struggling here. I'm gonna take Cody Bellinger.
Okay. Now are you gonna put him in your outfield spot or your first base spot?
I will being that there's a bunch of outfielders, I will put him at the first baseman spot.
Yeah. Okay.
So now I got the last 2 NL MVPs on my squad.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go with.
Oh, by the way, sorry, I keep interrupting you. My team name is the Round Trippers.
Round Trippers. My team name is going to be Please Don't Trade Nolan. That'll be my team.
The only way it can go is to me, so please do trade Nolan.
Next position I'm going with is a catcher. Catching is definitely at a premium. There's not a lot of extremely solid ones in the game. So right now, I am going to go with Wilson Contreras at catcher for my catching position.
I wasn't sure who I was going to go with catcher. I was leaning Contreras, but obviously I can't take. I was debating between Contreras and 1 or 2 others, but clearly I can't take him now. So all right.
Your turn at number overall.
Arenado Contreras. Alrighty. Let's see here. Well, I might as well take second base. The question is, who do I want there? I think I'm going to go second base. I mean, you don't have one yet, so I got my pick. I got to go with Jose Altuve. I mean, yeah. I don't think you can take anyone else there. Maybe Albies, but I'm going to go with Altuve.
Fair. I like it. So you're going Altuve. Okay. Yeah. Let's see. So that'll be that's number 8 overall. I think I got to go back to the rubber. I got to go back to the pitching rubber. And I think I am going to go with. I really wish you hadn't gotten Garrett Cole. I really wish you had not done that.
Like you said, there's no way I was letting you have Cole and DeGrom. There is no way that was happening.
Fine. It's fine. I'm going to go with the guy that arguably also could have won Cy Young Award last year, Justin Verlander. That's going to be my pick. It seems like the guy is only getting better with age.
Mm-hmm.
And, I can't imagine him falling off too much this season at all. So I'm going with Verlander.
I like it.
Number 10 overall, who you got?
So I could take another pitcher, but I'm going to take a risk. Maybe you'll have a really deep squad now because I'm not going to take a pitcher with this pick, but I'm going to take another outfielder. I'm going to take Ronald Acuna Jr.
Okay.
Who is only getting better. Is already one of the best players in baseball and is only getting better. So taking Acuna Jr.
All right, that's number 10. I like that pick. That's a really solid pick.
I only make good ones, Dorton.
Yeah, well, at least you can make some picks good. Can't say the rest. It's the same about all of them. I'm going to go back to the mound again. I'm going to get my pitching staff. I'm telling you, it's going to be an elite pitching staff this year. I am going to go with Steven Strasburg at number 11.
Is that because the Rockies never have good pitching? You need to pitching?
Well, I mean, part of the reason, yeah, pretty much. I'm going.
I like it.
Number 11.
Okay. Boy, I don't know. Should I really roll the dice? You know what? I'm not gonna take another starter just because I there's some other maybe not tier 1 guys that I like. So I'm gonna take another hitter between 2 guys here. Boy. Hold on. I need a 10 seconds to think this one over. Let's see. I already have a first baseman, but I'm going to take another one so you can't have the guy I think you would take. I'm going to take Freddie Freeman and put him in my DH spot.
I hate you, Nick. I hate you.
I'm not looking up. See, I'm more so about ruining your team than I am making
Oh
mine.
my goodness, I absolutely despise you
Yep.
right
This is the strategy I invoked.
That was going to be my next pick. Oh, God. Freddie Freeman. Oh, man.
That's
a
Acuna Jr. and Freddie Freeman. I can Atlanta Braves up. Yes.
Hadn't done that. I really wish you hadn't.
I'm so glad I did.
Because that screws up a lot of things for me now.
I said now you can't have Bellinger or Freeman. That was the idea.
Gosh, I don't understand why you had to do that to me. I really don't.
This is why. It's all right. Now you can wait to take a first base whenever you want. You can just wait to take them. It's all right. Can't take Todd Helton, no. I mean, you could, but you know.
Yeah, I could. Maybe a blast from the past there. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go to second base. And I'm gonna go with Ozzie Albies. That's gonna be my second baseman.
Right.
I think there's a few different ways I could have gone with that, but I'm a huge fan of Albies, so I'm gonna go with him at 13.
That's three Braves players taken already, by the way. Which, like I said, we'll get into it next week with predictions, but I'm high on the Atlanta Braves this year, just so everybody knows.
Yeah.
I better take a pitcher now. Probably not the one people would expect. I'm going to take Walker Buehler.
Okay. I like that.
Personally, we haven't even really discussed how we're going about scoring and whatnot, but Walker Buehler might lead the league in wins because he's playing for the Dodgers in a bad division. So, and this dude's a stud. I think he's clearly the ace in LA now. I don't care if they have Kershaw there. I'm going with Buehler.
I agree. I'm going to go, and I'm surprised. I'm actually very surprised that this man has not been taken yet.
I know it's one of two guys.
I'm going to the outfield, and I'm going with the newest LA Dodger, Mookie Betts.
If I didn't go pitcher, I was going to take Betts.
Yeah, I was. Yep. I don't know why he was not picked earlier, and I don't know why he waited this long. I'm fine with that.
I will tell you why. Because there was another outfielder that I was totally fine with getting if I didn't get Betts. I already have Yelich and Ronald Acuna Jr. The other outfielder I'm going to take now with this pick is one of the best players in baseball already, Juan Soto.
Okay, yeah. Juan Soto. Okay.
So that's Yelich, Acuna Jr., and Soto in the outfield. I like it.
I'm a fan of that.
I'm a fan of that. Trout and Betts, so.
I have Trout and Betts, yeah. I'm gonna
so many outfielders nowadays in baseball. It's insane.
Oh yeah. It really is. I am going to go back to the bump, and I'm gonna go with a guy that in my opinion, one of the more underrated pitchers in baseball. I'm a ginormous fan of him. So I'm bringing him to the squad at pick number 17. Welcome to it, Tyler Glasnow from the Tampa Bay Rays.
I had him on fantasy baseball last year for $1. Awesome.
There you go.
All right. I'm going to go with the guy who's surprising to still be left. I know he's getting up there in age, and I'm not huge on him this year, but I'm going to take Mad Max Scherzer.
Okay. I like that.
So you got Strasburg, I got Scherzer.
Yeah. That's pick number 18 there. Okay. I think So I'm trying to think. We both have a shortstop left. We both have to get a shortstop.
Yes.
I have a couple of guys in mind, and I'm okay with getting the other one if you get the other one. So I'm okay with waiting on shortstop.
I don't even honestly. I don't know who I'm going to take there.
I'm gonna go to the bullpen. I want to lock down.
No, don't do it, Dorton.
I'm gonna lock down a guy that is extremely underrated. He is in my division, and that is from the San Diego Padres, Kirby Yates. I think the guy is one of the relievers in baseball.
Oh, thank you. For one, I think I agree. He's a stud. But as soon as you said bullpen, I thought you were going to take the guy I wanted. I thought I could wait a little bit. I'm going to take Josh Hader. Who's better? I don't know, but Hader's on the better team. So I'd rather have Hader. So there we go.
Josh Hader, pick number 20. Well, I guess I'll go back to the bullpen, and I think a team that is probably going to win probably or dang near close to 100 games this year at the back end of the bullpen, the flamethrower, Aroldis Chapman. I'm going to take him and put him on my squad at pick number 21.
All righty. Let's see. Short third. I got short left. I don't think you're going to take the shortstop I want, though. So I think I can leave it open. Third base. We got one. Well, could take another one. You could do what I did to you, though, with third base. I'm going to take another pitcher.
Okay.
It's between two guys, but considering how well he ended the year last year, I'm going to take Jack Flaherty.
Okay.
Who in the second half of the year was the best pitcher in baseball last year.
I like that. I agree. Yeah, he had a phenomenal second half. That's for dang sure. Yeah. I'm going to go with a guy that arguably you could have, definitely could have made the argument for the MVP last season. And he played a few different positions, but I am going to stick him at my first base spot, and I'm going to put in DJ LeMahieu.
I like it. Former Rocky.
Yeah, gotta give him respect.
In New York, so all you Coors fans, all you Coors people are only good because of altitude. Well, DJ LeMahieu just showed you up, so
welcome to
good pick. I'm just gonna go ahead and round out my starting pitching with actually I was just about to say a guy, now I'm debating here. I hate to do it because he's in my division, but I'm gonna go with Shane Bieber. Clevenger, I think, is probably the more sought-out guy in that rotation, but Bieber, I personally think, is better or has potential to be better. And Clevenger was injured for a while last year. Bieber wasn't, if I remember correctly. So I'm taking Bieber.
This season, too, I believe he will be.
What was that?
I'm pretty sure Clevenger is going to be missing some time to start this season, too.
Oh, okay. Good thing you know more than me because I didn't even realize that. So I'm glad I took Bieber.
DH. Okay, so do I want to go back to the starting pitching spot? Or do I want to round out my outfield? So, I know he's going to miss some time to start the season. I don't, not very long, actually. I don't think he'll be gone very long at all. But I am going to go for my last outfield spot. I'm going to go with Aaron Judge.
Boy, that's risky.
It is.
He's got a broken rib, man.
It is. I'm really banking on, though, that when he comes back, it's I don't know. I might regret that one. I think he'll make up for it, so I'm not too worried. But I had to get him.
Didn't want to go with Blackman, huh?
Didn't want to go with Blackman. Nope.
Harper wasn't picked, which, in my opinion, he's like the most overrated player in baseball. So,
yeah,
I get that. All right, so you're going with the judge and the jury, huh?
Yeah. It's your turn. Pick number 26.
I'm going to fill my third baseman spot.
Okay.
Now, there's many guys. The reason I was leaving this open is because there's so many of them. I do think if I could take my choice of any third baseman, I would take Arenado.
Yeah.
But there's so many of them. There's Bregman, Ramirez, Devers. Probably you wouldn't think would be picked, but I think he's going to be very good. However, I'm going to take Rendon.
Okay. That's
I kind of want to take Vlad Guerrero Jr. just because, who knows about the potential, and I love me some Vlad Guerrero Jr., but Rendon was the legitimate MVP candidate last year, and he's in a lineup that should be pretty good there in LA as well, so I'm going to take Rendon.
I like that. Trying to think starting pitching because there's a lot of really, really solid guys out there. And I'm just off the top of my head, I'm just trying to see if he wasn't hurt last season and played so poorly. I was thinking about going Chris Sale, but I don't think I'm going to go Chris Sale.
I took him on fantasy baseball last year, and he killed me.
Yeah. I don't think I'm going to go Chris Sale. I think that's tough.
Yeah, I'm just looking at who's left. This is tough.
That's tough. I think it's starting pitcher. I think, still, obviously, when you think of the LA Dodgers, you think of Clayton Kershaw. Now, obviously, I think right now Walker Buehler is a better pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
But Clayton Kershaw, the guy is going to compete. So I think I'm going to go with Kershaw to round out my pitching.
By the way, we're both done with pitchers now, right?
You need a relief pitcher. Yeah, one more relief pitcher.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So,
yep.
Being that we're done with starters, by the way, I don't blame you for not taking him, but I think the one guy who still isn't very well known for pitchers that I think could be a stud this year is Frankie Montas for the A's. I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I believe he got suspended last year. Before that, he was having a heck of a year. Anyways, I'm going to fill my shortstop spot with just a lot of people would probably think there's better options out there, but now that Betts is gone, he's the man in Boston, him or Martinez, I'm going to go with Xander Bogaerts.
Okay.
I've always been a big Bogaerts guy. As soon as he got into the league, I'm like, dude, this guy's going to hit 3,000 hits. I still think he's got a shot. I'm a big, huge Xander Bogaerts fan.
So that was neither of the guys that I thought you were going to get at shortstop. That he was not one of them.
That's kind of why I waited it out.
Which makes it maybe a little bit easier. To me, it's between two guys. I'm looking at Trey Turner, and I'm looking at Story. He is the other one.
By the way, I got this fantasy baseball book I've been looking at. It's like Roto Wire.
Yeah.
They have like tier 1, 2, 3, blah, blah, blah. And the first two they have listed at shortstop, I believe, are Turner and Story.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Shortstop, they have Turner, Story, and Lindor as tier 1. But personally, I just like Bogaerts more this year.
I'm going to go with Story. I'm going to go with Story, and the main reason behind that is it's not because I don't think Trey Turner is not going to produce this year. At the end of the day, he's going to get a lot of stolen bases. He's going to hit well. I just think Trevor Story, who can also run too, people don't see that in his game. He can steal some bags. He's got more pop. I think he's going to hit more home runs, drive in more runs, have more scoring opportunities. So I'm going to go with Trevor Story for my shortstop.
And Story hasn't been hurt yet in his career either, has he?
He did his rookie year. He broke his wrist, but that's pretty much been it.
I guess I didn't realize that, but yeah, like Turner's had some, without drafting bench for us and whatnot, obviously we don't want guys getting injured, so that I've kind of kept that in mind. And Turner hasn't had the greatest health history, so
Sure.
that leaves me with a relief pitcher, correct?
Yeah, relief pitcher and a catcher.
Oh yeah, that's right. Duh. Well, I'm gonna get a little bias here.
Okay.
I don't think it's a terrible pick, just because I'm not huge after Hader and you took Yates. I wasn't huge on any of the other relievers. I'm gonna take Taylor Rogers. I think he's going to be the legitimate closer and get most of the save opportunities, and the Twins are going to get plenty of them, I think. And Rogers is pretty darn good. So, and part of his problem last year, he started pitching like a bunch of 2-inning saves, and it was really hurting him. But the bullpen's a lot deeper now, so I think Rogers is going to have a solid year.
Obviously designated hitter. That's my last position that I need to get.
You can take anybody you want.
I can take anybody that I want. For me, obviously, I can put anyone who I want there. But I just think if obviously home runs, so pretty much the scoring output is going to be like a category is potentially who has the most of whatever that category is at the end of the season, which will make for a lot of math, but that's what we're going to do. So kind of cumulative average, home runs, RBI, stolen bases, average, I believe, on base percentage. We decide on stolen bases for hitters, and then pitching, wins, ERA, strikeouts, and then negative factors obviously being the losses, walks, that one.
And saves.
And saves, yep, saves as well too. So for DH, a guy that has been doing it his whole career, was a huge part of your team, Bomba Squad. I gotta go with Nelson Cruz.
When you mentioned that I could take anybody, but I figured that's who you're taking. I like that pick.
So I'm going with
39, and he's getting better, it seems like.
So you have one pick left at catcher for the 32nd and final, Mr. Irrelevant. Who are you going with at catcher?
I just had a somewhat biased pick. I don't know if I should do it again, but I'm a big Garver guy. If he would have played more last year, he would have had even more home runs. He averaged, let's see. He had like 30-some home runs. I don't know if he even played 100 games. But it's between him and Real Muto. Sanchez is just too home run or bust for my liking. And he's had injury problems. I've seen he's got like back pain right now. Because Garver hits so many more home runs than Remuto, I believe, I'm going to take another Twin, and I'm going to take Garver.
Really? Okay.
I am. So the last 3 picks in the draft were Twins.
You got to have the Twins representative on there. So that's our team. I'll post a picture of it on Twitter, have the fans vote on it, which one they like more. So I'll just go down the teams here, who we had. So for my team first base, I had DJ LeMahieu. Second base, I had Ozzie Albies. Third base, Nolan Arenado. Shortstop, Trevor Story. At catcher, Wilson Contreras. My outfield spots was Mike Trout, Mookie Betts, Aaron Judge. My starting pitching was Jacob deGrom, Justin Verlander, Strasburg, Tyler Glasnow, Clayton Kershaw. My bullpen, Kirby Yates, and Aroldis Chapman. At DH, and Nelson Cruz. And then for Nick's team, he's got Bellinger at first, Altuve at second, Rendon at third, Bogarts at short, Mitch Garver at catcher. His outfield is Yelich, Acuna Jr., and Soto. The starting pitching, Garrett Cole, Walker Buehler, Max Scherzer, Jack Flaherty, Shane Bieber. The bullpen, Josh Hader, Taylor Rogers, and at DH he has Freddie Freeman. Pretty fun. I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it, yeah.
So we'll have to see whose team is better at the end of the season.
Yes.
But
obviously we don't have to. But imagine putting these hitters in a. Granted, we have 1, 2, 3, Yeah, imagine putting these hitters 1 through 9. That would be
Oh,
a
that's
tough
tough.
task.
That would be tough. So definitely vote for my team as a better team because it obviously is.
Round trippers all the way.
Oh man.
I'll
But anyway,
win the home run category if I'm going to call myself the round trippers.
Yeah, you better. You better. So this is the teams. Obviously, now we're at the end of the show. We talked about everything we talked about at the draft that we needed to. Nick, is there any final thoughts that you wanted to bring up before we are done for the day?
I just like to say I'd love to hear you guys' opinions on our teams. I know you already mentioned it. And if there's any guys you think got like snubbed, let us know. Like I know, for instance, I don't think he should have been picked. Obviously, I didn't pick him, but Pete Alonso was the home run champ last year. He was off the board. Lindor, a lot of people think is the best shortstop. We didn't take him, so I'd like to hear your guys' opinions. But I'm happy with my team. So, and I just like to say yes. We touch on next week's going to be pretty much an exclusive baseball podcast. I just love the beginning of baseball season. I'm getting so excited for it. I'm probably going to become, like I mentioned you earlier, I'm probably going to become a season ticket holder for the Twins. Not like a legit 81 game, but 20 games. I just love this time of year. I'm going to watch a bunch of baseball movies the next couple of weeks. So I'm looking forward to next week's podcast. I hope you guys tune in. And yeah, I'd like to hear your thoughts on this draft.
So. Absolutely. And everything that Nick said, same for me too. That's awesome. Yeah. Minus the season ticket holder part. I didn't get season tickets for the Colorado Rockies, but that's okay. But anyways,
you don't buy season tickets for bad teams, Dorton.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe I won't buy season tickets. Maybe I won't buy a season ticket for your team then, for your team that you drafted, since it's not very good.
Oh, that's cold. That's cold.
All righty. Well, that's all the topics we have to discuss about. Thank you for tuning in to week 13 of the Dorton Doetkott Debate podcast. You want to find us on Twitter. You can find myself at Lucas_Dorton, capital L, capital D. If you want to find Nick on Twitter, at Doetkott, Doetkott, whichever's easier for you, do that. And then the Twitter page, at dnd_podcast, capital D's, capital P for that. So definitely share that. Share this episode. We had a fun time doing it. But yeah, so as for myself and Mr. Doetkott, we are out.